This is one of the most controversial projects in America right now. Texas is spending $13 billion to expand one of the nation's deadliest highways. That created a problem the state decided just couldn't continue. Thousands of homes, businesses and schools are going to be demolished to make way for the upgraded infrastructure. The question is, does Texas really need this?
Texas is famous for building big, but across the state, some of its most expensive promises are shrinking, stalling, or quietly bleeding money. These are 10 Texas mega projects where the numbers no longer match the promise. In the 10th place, the Corpus Christi Harbor Bridge was pitched as a modern 6-lane gateway, but its price tag ballooned from $900 million to a fixed $1.2 billion. Design defects and contractor disputes halted construction, requiring a massive $400 million state settlement to get work moving again. While officials claim local taxpayers won't pay extra, $800 million is already gone. This delay directly hurts coastal commerce, choking local traffic and stalling massive cargo vessels from entering the port. Demolition of the old failing bridge is now delayed until spring 2026. Number 9. State Highway 130 was pitched as a faster toll bypass to relieve crushing congestion on Interstate 35. However, actual daily traffic averages barely 40,000 vehicles, a devastating shortfall from the massive volumes early forecasts promised. This severe demand gap directly threatened $5.5 billion in revenue bonds that depended entirely on toll income. The financial strain grew so intense that a 2022 refinancing had to wipe out over $1 billion in legacy debt. Today, local commuters pay nearly 19 cents per mile, bearing the cost of a highway that remains a multi-billion-dollar monument to over-optimistic planning. Number 8. The Golden Pass LNG terminal was pitched as a massive $11.6 billion export powerhouse, promising to flood the Gulf Coast with local jobs. Instead, it became a corporate disaster when lead contractor Zachry Holdings collapsed into bankruptcy. While a court-approved settlement eventually cleared Chiyoda to take over, the legal warfare stalled construction and left 4,000 workers facing sudden layoffs. Even with federal export approval arriving in April 2026, the local community in Port Arthur is left bearing the weight of delayed employment, showing how easily multi-billion-dollar private projects can derail local economies. Number 7. The Texas Central High-Speed Rail promised a 90-minute bullet train ride between Dallas and Houston, but years of delays have left travelers with 0 miles of track. Originally pitched as a privately funded $3 billion venture, the project hit a wall when developers secured only $850 million in capital. This massive funding gap halted momentum, while the company triggered 30 eminent domain lawsuits to seize 200 acres of private property. Over 300 rural farmers and ranchers face intense pressure to surrender their land, yet the target completion date has slipped to 2035. Texans are left with ongoing court battles instead of the fast transit they were promised. In the 6th place, a planned 30 million gallons per day desalination plant in Corpus Christi shows how smaller infrastructure jobs can hit home the fastest, while the city approved a $175 million facility. Alternative engineering estimates have reached over $213 million. Before a single drop of fresh water is produced, $10 million of ratepayer money is already gone, swallowed up by pre-construction engineering. Permitting battles and design changes have kept the plant stalled in the pipeline, even after a contract was signed in February 2026. Because locals directly back this debt, families face rising monthly water bills to cover the gap. Number 5. The Texas State Border Wall program promised a massive 1,000-mile barrier system to seal the southern boundary. Instead, taxpayers are left with a disconnected patchwork of steel. Texas committed $1.6 billion in state funds, alongside $2.5 billion in frozen federal allocations, yet the barrier remains largely unbuilt. This land rush directly threatens private property rights. Over 200 landowners face aggressive eminent domain lawsuits as the state fights to seize their family land. Meanwhile, everyday Texans carry the burden of an estimated $30 million in annual maintenance costs for a wall that remains unfinished. This project leaves both property owners and taxpayers exposed to mounting liabilities with no end in sight. Number 4. Austin's Project Connect. Promised 27 miles of light rail, 31 stations, and a downtown tunnel. Voters backed this transit vision with a $7.1 billion bond and a permanent 8.75-cent property tax rate hike. However, heavy construction inflation and design changes have forced severe cuts, stalling the underground tunnel and shrinking the active rail network. For a homeowner with a $250,000 property, this tax hike adds $45 to their annual bill right now. Even with $300 million dedicated to relocation aid, taxpayers are funding higher bills today for a downsized project they will not see for years. Coming to the top 3, Austin's plan to cover Interstate 35 with park-like caps has skyrocketed from $868 million to a staggering $1.4 billion. What was promised as a green space to reconnect divided neighborhoods has turned into a major fiscal crisis. The wider highway expansion costs $4.5 billion, pushing the corridor total over $6 billion. The central segment will not finish until at least 2032. Leaving drivers stuck in a decade of construction gridlock. Meanwhile, the expanded concrete footprint requires demolishing or relocating over 100 local homes and businesses. Austin taxpayers face higher local tax burdens to fund these massive caps, trading money that could support local services for a highway project that is shrinking in scope but growing in cost. In second place, Houston's Interstate 45 overhaul has exploded from an estimated $9.7 billion to a staggering $13 billion. This price hike means billions more in taxpayer money is diverted into concrete, while a federal civil rights investigation pushed the final completion date out to 2042. For the communities along the path, the cost is deeply personal. The massive widening project forces the displacement of 1,663 households and 331 local businesses. Neighborhoods are being carved up, and although TXDOT committed $30 million for affordable housing and relocation aid, this fund does little to offset the permanent loss of local commercial hubs and homes. Though work is finally moving forward in segments under a voluntary agreement, families face decades of construction dust, constant lane closures, and rising transit delays. This project shows the devastating human cost when highway expansion overrides neighborhood survival. And finally, in first place, the Coastal Texas project, known as the Ike Dike, represents the largest gap between massive promises and fiscal reality. Originally pitched as a $34 billion storm surge shield for the Houston-Galveston corridor, the price tag has exploded to $57 billion. Today, only 1.7% of that funding is secured, including a mere $500,000 in federal design money. While construction could drag on for 20 years, coastal homeowners face immediate consequences. Texas home insurance premiums surged 22% in a single year, and local taxpayers in 5 coastal counties face a projected $20 billion tax burden to cover the state's share of the unfinished bill. These 10 projects expose a recurring pattern of unrealistic early budgets, underestimated risks, and officials continuing to fund failing plans out of sheer momentum. At what point does a delayed megaproject stop being an investment and become a refusal to admit the original plan failed? Together, these projects expose a pattern of doubled-down budgets and ignored risks. At what point does a delayed megaproject stop being an investment and become a refusal to admit the original plan failed? Tell us in the comments which of these projects Texas should finish, redesign, or abandon. Subscribe for more investigative documentaries.